I recently realized that I've been making videos for YouTube for almost 5 years now, and I thought I'd do something that I haven't done before, a compilation video. If you're watching this video on TikTok or you haven't come across my YouTube channel before, I make videos of famous graves, filming locations, pop culture, and nighttime cemetery explorations. My channel name is ltjones. This video is going to be celebrity related, and I'm going to show you some places which I covered which had barely been seen on YouTube up to that point. I'll start by mentioning one of my earliest videos. It's actually the video which I've had the most views on. It's had 2.4 million views to date, and it was a video about the unmarked gravesite of George Michael. The pop superstar died in 2016, and his grave was unmarked for 5 years. So 3 years plus had passed by the time I went to see the grave. I do recall there was one video online at the time of a guy singing badly by his gravesite. So I wanted to go there and do more of a respectful video. There it is. George Michael is buried next to his mother. The white headstone is his mother's headstone, and his grave is on the right of the headstone in this area here. On the left of the headstone is where his sister Melanie was buried. She actually died 3 years to the day after George Michael on Christmas Day 2019. His mother died in 1997. When headstones were eventually placed on George and Melanie's graves, I did come back here. When I posted the original video, I must have had hundreds of people saying that they didn't believe that George was buried there. Next is the location where the singer Jimi Hendrix spent his final night. It's also the place where the final photographs of him were taken less than 24 hours before his death. The address is 21 and 22 Lansdowne Crescent in Notting Hill in London. In 1970 it was a hotel, and Hendrix was renting an apartment here. It's believed he drowned on his own vomit in the early hours of the 18th of September, although many people believed that there was foul play involved. Although many people believe that he had died at the hotel, the official record is that he died at a nearby hospital. Just behind the hotel here you've got these gardens, and final photographs of Jimi Hendrix were taken there less than 24 hours before he died. Photographs were taken by his female acquaintance Monica Dananam. A seemingly happy Hendrix is seen posing with his guitar, which he named Black Beauty. See that the gate is open, so I'm going to try and have a look. At the time I thought this was a bit of a coup, but on reflection the photographs were probably taken in a private area right behind the hotel and not in the public gardens here. Oh, just a correction there, they're not public gardens, they're only for the residents of the buildings surrounding it, so I was actually trespassing here. Next we go to Switzerland to see the grave of the actor James Mason, best remembered for the films North by Northwest and the 1954 version of A Star is Born. He's actually buried in the same cemetery as his friend Charlie Chaplin. And here's the grave of Charlie Chaplin. He's buried on the right-hand side here, next to his wife, Una Chaplin. And here's James Mason's grave. Because of a legal situation, his ashes weren't actually buried here straight after his death. It was actually many years later. But they were eventually buried here a few feet away from Charlie Chaplin's grave. Also, in the same video, I went looking for his final home, which is not far away from the cemetery. I'll know when I find it, because there's a very notable landmark in the front garden. I underestimated this village. It's a lot bigger than I thought. Been walking for a while now. And this is the house, and this is the landmark I was referring to. The giant redwood tree. It's the second largest redwood tree in Switzerland. And the house is actually called Sequila Villa. Looking at the house, I can't tell if it's a new house or not, to be honest with you. I've just made some inquiries with a lady who happened to be passing, and she told me that this is not the original house. The original house was demolished about 6 years ago, and the original house was a one-story building, quite long. It's probably built, she said, it was built further that way. This lady lived a few houses behind this, and she didn't know James Mason personally, but she said he was very discreet and a very nice gentleman. Now, the original house was a 6-bedroom house, and it had a library and a wine cellar and a fireplace. Now, the lady told me that they're trying to protect this tree, but the likelihood is they're not going to succeed in the long run. So they've built the house too close to it, really. And James Mason actually owned some of the other houses around here, which he rented out. The lady whom I talked to was quite upset that the original house had been demolished. Yeah, you can see there's some space here, so the original house must have come up to this space here as well. Now there's a memorial to James Mason in the village. Just going to try and find that now. It's actually a bust of James Mason, and it was commissioned by his son in 2017. To show you a little bit more of the footage. The reason why it's located here, according to the lady I spoke to, was these vineyards were actually his. And there's a plaque here. I won't read it all out, but it says that he loved this region and its inhabitants, and he integrated well, participating actively in local life. Just have a quick look up here, actually. Oh yeah, it looks like they've harvested the grapes already. And it is late September now, I guess. Wow, look at that view. The next video of mine, which I'll mention, relates to Judy Garland, who was connected to James Mason, actually. They both starred in the 1954 version of A Star Is Born, and they did actually have an affair. And when Judy Garland died in 1969, it was actually James Mason who gave the eulogy at the funeral. In the video, I went to a couple of locations in London which are connected to Judy Garland, including the place where she died. I'll just show you a piece of the video which explains why she was in London just before her death. This is the Hippodrome Casino. In the late 60s, it was called Talk of the Town. And this is the venue where Judy Garland held a series of concerts over a 5-week period in late 1968, only a few months before she died. She had previously seen success doing a series of concerts in the early 1950s in London, and she had hoped to reproduce that success. However, her performances here were inconsistent. On some nights she would put on an incredible show, but on other nights she would turn up late at the venue and would need a cocktail or pills for stage fright. There were also nights where she mocked audience members and was heckled in return. Judy Garland died in the Belgravia area of London. Here I'm walking towards Cadogan Lane, where her house was located. It was probably the most modest house in Belgravia. The house was actually demolished a couple of years ago, and there's a new building there now. Okay, this is the location of the house. It's got the grey garage door. I'll show you a photograph of how the house looked when she lived here. On the night that she died, she had been watching a documentary with her fifth husband, and I believe it was a documentary about the royal family. And for some reason that night she had a heated argument with her husband, and she ran out into the street here. Her husband went to bed, just assuming that she'd return after a while. When he woke up in the morning, he couldn't find her until he tried the bathroom door, which was locked, and there was no answer inside. So he climbed outside onto the roof and got into the bathroom via a window. And that's where he found Judy Garland sitting on the toilet, still holding her head in her hands. She had overdosed on pills, though despite her numerous efforts in the past to unalive herself, the coroner ruled there was actually an accidental overdose. To show you another little piece of the video. When the original house was demolished and they were building this one, there was a plaque here for a short period of time. And there has been a campaign to try and get a blue plaque placed there, but whoever owns the house doesn't want that. Well, this is a photograph of her and her husband by the front door of the house. And as you can see by your feet there's a manhole. So you can see from this manhole here where the front door was located. It's probably not the same manhole, but it's in the same spots, obviously. Okay, that's the end of part 1 of this video. There will be another installment. Okay guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.